Hello, everyone.
Hi guys.
Good evening.
Hey.
And how you guys doing? Please confirm if you guys can hear us. Can you hear us?
Mm, okay, let's move this.
Can everyone hear us?
No.
Can you guys hear us? Hello.
Okay, yes.
Okay. 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 I hope it's clear. All right. Welcome, everyone.
Wow.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you,
Kate.
Gift.
Welcome, everyone. Nino and Lulu here, your usual monthly host.
Yeah. I would need to have different hooks.
No, no, I'm just reinforcing
I'm just thinking, but yeah, I
So,
digress.
welcome to our seventh free webinar of 2025. Welcome. We've made it thus far. Thank you guys
Thank
for
God.
sticking with us and for learning and growing with us. And this month, we're going to be talking about money. If you listen to any of our posts, you know we always say romance without finance is a nuisance.
And we're wearing green.
And we're wearing green. You plan it for you.
No, actually.
Don't style this.
I mean, as you just said it, I just feel like, oh, wow,
That's good.
when the spirits.
One brand. All right, guys. So just before we start, our guest speaker is already on the call.
Yeah.
We'll just say a short prayer and then we'll go into the introduction. So if you have any friends that want to learn about building and maintaining generational wealth, please get them to join the call, share the link, let them come and join the call. It's free. We're not charging them for anything. I say come and learn for free, guys. I mean, all right, guys. So let's pray and then we'll go into the discussion. Well, I just want to say thank you for yet another webinar. Thank you for the last six. Thank you for glorifying yourself. Thank you for this one. But we ask that as our guest speaker speaks as she teaches, that new information, new knowledge, and new wisdom will come to every member of this meeting in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
Let eyes be open. Let questions that have been on the hearts of people be answered.
Amen.
And most importantly, Lord, give direction, give wisdom to be able to build wealth and to sustain and to maintain it in the mighty name of Jesus. At the end of the day, oh Lord, take all the glory, take all the honor, and take all the adoration. In Jesus' mighty name, we've prayed.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Hallelujah.
All right.
Right.
Up to you.
Okay, before you go ahead, right, just want to be sure that you guys can't hear any background noise from our end.
Yeah, because we have a fan on, and we just want to make sure that you guys can
Yeah,
hear
you
it.
can't hear it.
So are we clear? No background noise? Are we audible? Just a thumbs up. Yes. All right, fantastic.
Yes, that we are clear.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
fantastic.
All right,
Thank you,
fantastic.
thank you. All right. Okay, so like Nino has said, our guest speaker for today is here, right? And it's going to be an interesting conversation because we see that people don't realize that money is important. As before we got on the call, we're just having a little conversation. We're talking about how people don't understand that if you don't have money is a problem. But because of where we've grown up, especially in Christianity, they kind of see money as evil.
It's evil.
Exactly. You don't have so much money, just you and Jesus. But for us to do what God needs us to do in this end times and in our lives, we need money.
Okay.
Right.
Apostle Selman will always say, they say the name of Jesus is very heavy.
Exactly.
It takes money to lift it
To
up.
lift it. So today and tonight, we're going to be talking about not just making money, but actually sustaining it from generations to generations, right? And today we are joined by the one and the only drum rolls. As I'm talking, please, I just want to see the drum rolls, the confetti, right? We're joined by the none other Florence Damilola Olatunbosun. Some of you might be wondering, okay, who is Damilola? We're going to be reading her bio, right? Damilola Olatunbosun is a distinguished financial educator at Money Africa, committed to redefining the financial landscape across the African continent. Her mission is clear: to transform how Africans understand and achieve financial empowerment. An exceptional scholar from the outset, Daniela graduated with distinction in her national diploma program, ranked among the top 10% of her undergraduate class, and became a chartered accountant while still in university. An achievement that underscores her discipline, intelligence, and commitment to excellence. With over 5 years of experience spanning banking, development finance, and personal wealth education, she brings deep expertise in financial systems design, cash flow optimization, and strategic financial planning. Her impact, includes training nearly 300 individuals on financial management and implementing systems that have transformed organizational operations. At Money Africa, Damilola leads high impact financial education initiatives, developing innovative programs, curating tailored tools, and nurturing a growing ecosystem of financial empowered Africans. Her work directly addresses the continent's financial inclusion gap, equipping everyday people with the knowledge and confidence to take ownership of their finances, to build generational wealth and lead transformative financial journeys. So join me as we welcome Damilola Olatunbosun to the webinar of July. Hi, Damilola. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. Can everyone see me?
No, we can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay, I don't know why the camera is not on it. It's not
Are you
coming.
using a laptop?
Yes, I'm using my laptop.
Are you sure it doesn't have some of those? There's ones.
Control.
Some of them have those slides at the top. Where you have to
Okay.
Okay, I
slide.
think it's okay.
Okay, yes, I can hear you. You can see.
Can see you.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
welcome. So great to
Thank you
have
so much.
you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate and I appreciate the work you do. So let me just confess, I always have been following your content for a while now. So when I
Thank
saw your invitation, I was like, wow, this is lovely. I'm definitely coming on board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So before we even go ahead, right, your resume is impressive, right? All the big, big English, financial optimization, da, 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 da. And some people are wondering, okay, what does all of this mean, right? So in a nutshell, can you just explain the work you do and also Money Africa? What is Money Africa and what does Money Africa do?
Okay, so thank you so much for that. So I'm going to start with Money Africa. Money Africa is a financial literacy platform. So at Money Africa, our goal is to actually equip individuals with financial knowledge. And the reason we want to do this or we are doing this is because we've come to realize that a lot of people go through school, spend 4 years, minimum of 4 years in the university, then they start earning money. And most people tend to make a lot of money mistake at least 5 years, maybe 5 years down the lane, then they realize that, oh, we're making money, I'm making money mistake. What can I do better? So, but we don't want that. We don't want a situation whereby, oh, you have to make all this mistake. Then maybe we are in your 40s already. Then you start, oh, how can I start putting my money to, or what can I do? How can I invest? And also that is our main goal. Our main goal is to equip people with financial literacy. And we are doing this through our content on IG, one-on-one consultation with a financial advisor, even Money Africa Kids, whereby you don't necessarily have to wait until your children are adults while they are little and actually start learning about money. And I always say this, the famous Warren Buffett that everybody talk about, this guy started investing when he was 11, and the guy is in his 90s now. So you can imagine he has a long period of time to actually make mistakes that. So I
Mhm.
always say this that you don't necessarily have to wait. And this is yesterday might be the best time for you to start investing or start learning about finance. But since you could not do it yesterday, you can actually start today.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Damilola as an individual, what can I say about myself? I love money, and my love of money made me to learn how to manage it and practically invest in money, trying to be a better person. And I realized that, oh, I could actually do this and help other people. And that was what made me to join Money Africa. So, and if I'm not teaching about money, I'm not doing any of my 9 to 5, I think I'll be sleeping or going on hiking. I enjoy hiking a lot. So
Wow.
always find me out. So if I'm not indoor reading a book, I'm hiking. So that's that about me. So to keep to
Okay,
time,
next. Even
yeah.
before, just before you even start, I will have a confession. You know that I actually joined in fact, how I decided to start taking my finances seriously
Was
was
through
Money
Money Africa, actually.
I joined I think the WhatsApp group for a year. I remember I even had I think I joined the one where I had like a mentor, like a financial plan. I think maybe it was you. There's Damilola that would help me. I said, okay, I had stocks that I wanted to invest, and they were advised, okay, put it in these stocks. That's where I first learned about bamboo. That's where I first learned about money market funds. I got the book How I'll Teach You to Be Rich, I think by Ramit, and many others. So actually, that year of Money Africa is actually what transformed my personal,
Wow.
finance. Yes.
And me
I'm
by
happy that we
extension.
I'm happy that we have someone that have gone through Money Africa. I'm
Oh
really,
yes,
really
yes, 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 yes. I have.
okay. So I prepared my slides so that to keep the conversation structured.
Okay.
I don't know, can I share? I don't think I have access to it. So, but I'm just going to just walk through my slide from my hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Should be able to share.
Yeah, try sharing. You should be able to share
Okay.
your screen.
Okay, I think okay, yeah, I think I can now do that. Okay. Okay, so guess it's coming up.
Yes.
Yes, it's up. So during the course of this section, you understand savings, when you should save and when you should invest.
Mm.
Practical tools you can actually apply immediately. Thank God the salary week. That means you can actually start inventing now. Then the confidence to take charge of your financial future. So, but before we start investing, I would like to say that savings and investing are powerful tools for building wealth, but it is important for you to actually lay the right foundation. So, before diving right in, I would want to ask us this series of questions. Usually, I would have said, "Oh, let's close our eyes and then think about this, imagine yourself and answer this question." But no, let's not do that today. So, I'm going to ask. So, if you have your notepad, you can jot down this question. But I'll also share my slide at the end of the call so that in case you do
Thank
not
you.
get any. So, the first question is: how many people depend on you financially? And my understanding, my understanding is that we have like different age group on the call. So how many people depend on you financially? Just take if you can answer that on your notepad, I would really appreciate. What is your average monthly living expense? That is in a month. How much do you spend on your groceries, your transport, utilities, and the likes? How much do you spend on an average? Third, are you consistent? Do you consistently save at least 20% of your income? That is when you get paid your salary, or if you're a freelancer, when you get paid, do you save at least 20% of your income? Are your savings being channeled into assets such as bonds, real estate, stock, or cryptocurrency? I would like you to take note of and answer that. Most importantly, do you have an emergency fund that can cover at least 3 months of your living expense? You need to answer that. Are you covered by any medical insurance plan? The reason is because at least study shows that in Nigeria, most people are one medical emergency away from poverty. So do you have a medical insurance plan? Is your employer, has your employer enrolled you in any pension scheme, or are you personally making or independently making any pension contribution? And finally, do you have a long-term portfolio set aside for your future self? So I know some of the question might be confusing. You might not, oh, I don't know what to say to this. I'm going to break it down during the course of this call. But after answering this, that would actually determine whether, oh, you can actually start to build generational wealth through investing. So first thing first, before we talk about investing, what you can invest in, I would like to walk us through personal finance, because personal finance is like the sum total of everything we'll be discussing on the call. And for me, personal finance simply means how you manage your money, your income, from your income to your spending, your savings, your investing, and even protection. The reason why I'm adding protection to it is because after a while, when you are done investing, building the wealth, you also want to protect it. You don't want to lose your money. And the truth is that I believe that money helps us to spread the gospel. And apart from just spreading the gospel, money gives us options in life. A lot of people that have made one or two bad decisions that have affected their life. If you ask them, you realize that deep down, one way or the other, money is like the root cause of those bad decisions. So money give us options, money give us peace of mind. My younger sister will always say that whenever I have money in my account, my shoulder pad is always up. So when you have money, it gives you peace of mind. And lastly, money allow you to build your future on your own terms. That is your future, your children's future. Remember the Nepo baby and Lapo baby
Yeah.
allow you to build your future. So, and what are the key areas of personal finance? We are looking at budgeting, savings, investing, protection, debt management, retirement, financial protection. So I'm going to explain each and every one of them. I always say this, that before you start investing, you should have at least learned how to budget. You should have at least learned how to save your money. Then you can now start to invest. And what is budgeting? A lot of people find it difficult to budget. A lot of people find it difficult to actually budget. They'll tell you that, hey, Danny, it's daunting. I don't want to budget because it's a bit restrictive. And like, to be honest, budgeting actually gives you the freedom. But budgeting allows you to do whatever you want, because you know that, okay, if I do this, I have this. And a simple way to start budgeting is, first of all, have it at the back of your mind that you want to set up a realistic budget. You don't want a budget that is not realistic. You have to ensure that your budget is realistic. And how do you set up a realistic budget? A perfect way or a simple way to set up a realistic budget is to pick up your bank statement today. So if you're on the call and you want to create a realistic budget, pick up your bank statement. And when you pick up your bank statement, just download the last 3 months. So you can download maybe June, April, and June,
Man.
May, April, June. Thank you so much. May, April, June. You can just download May, April, June. And when you download it, do a simple analysis. Ask yourself, on an average, how much do I spend on transportation? How much do I spend on data? How much do I spend on my groceries? How much do I even spend on black tax for those people that have financial responsibility? This will give you a clear picture of your finances, and then it will also offer you the opportunity to actually access.
Hello, Danny, are you there? Okay.
Hello. Can you guys hear us? Let's just be sure it's not.
Yes.
Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, thank you. It's probably Dami's connection. Okay. That's fine.
Mm.
All right, guys. So I mean, while she joins back. So like I was saying, Money Africa actually changed my life. This is not even, we're not paid to advertise. But one thing I realized that especially in Nigeria, we do money matters the way our parents have, taught us to do money matters. We actually don't have a structure for organizing our money. And because we're in Africa, one of the greatest, in fact, I think it was statistic that I read that one of the greatest forms of or portions of our GDP in Africa is remittances, which means money coming from outside the country going to our mother, our sister, so the way we manage our finances in Africa is actually very unique. And if you don't structure your giving, you actually might eventually bulk under the pressure of black tax.
When you say structure you're giving, what do you mean?
So, for example, there are a lot of people that like to give to family. Okay, my family is not feeling fine. My mother, my father has surgery. I have to give. I have to give. The truth about it is that it's like crab mentality. If you want to go high, the animals crabs. So they usually, when you put them in a bowl, when one crab is trying to climb out of the bowl, they pull each other down. They pull each other down. So if you yourself are not financially free, you can't help your family.
Mhm.
And most people on their way to financial freedom, they don't structure they are giving. So their family keeps pulling them down, whether intentionally or unintentionally.
Won't that make you feel like, so you are a bit more,
Mhm.
let's say, wealthy, right,
Mhm.
than your other family members, right? And and you feel like you're in a position to help.
Mm.
Maybe you earn 400,000 every
Mm.
month, and every other person is earning like maybe 20,000, 30,000.
Mm.
How do you not have guilty conscience for not helping them?
You'll not have guilty conscience. No, it's because it's not as if you don't want to help. Because some people always think that the solution to helping is giving money.
Mm,
But they always say, don't give a person a fish, teach them how to fish.
mm.
So with your, how did you get to that your 400,000? What can you teach them? Can you transfer the knowledge to them to help them? The truth that there are some people that actually don't want to be helped.
I was going to say that. Also, they don't want to be
They
helped.
don't want to be helped. What do you now do? Do you understand? So if they don't want to be
So
helped,
you have to be okay with them looking at them in their poverty.
no, you have to be able to make tough decisions. It's not about looking at them in their poverty. Some people you have to teach. Some people don't want to learn, and you can't allow them to pull you down. So if you don't understand finances, there's a book that I always recommend, Psychology of Money. It shows that money actually follows your habits. Everybody has a money habit, a money pattern. So if you read that book, you now understand how you think about money. Because the way I think about money is very different from how my wife thinks about money.
Yeah.
Which also now affects your marriage. So if money means something to you and means something different to your spouse, you guys will eventually have issues. That's why we have that our money.
Yeah, I was just going to say, shameless plug. On our website,
Yeah.
Tala Company's website, we have a meaning of money assessment.
What does
That
money
always
mean to you? Yeah. So you see, you answer some questions. It can now show you what money means. For some people, money is top life. For some others, money is security. For some others, money is let me press their neck.
show you.
Let me show them shaky. Now, if you money is security for you and you marry a spouse where money is let me show them shaky, people will have problems because your spouse always wants to press everybody's like you want to be conservative.
Yeah.
So your money pattern and what money means to you, it matters. Okay, so our guest speaker is back on the call. So
Welcome back, Dami.
welcome back.
Thank
I
you
can't
so
hear you.
much.
Okay, we
Can you hear
hear
me
you.
now?
Yes.
Sorry. Clem, I did not. I just checked and I realized that I got disconnected.
Oh, yes.
Apologies for that.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. So not sure where you lost me. So I think I'll just
We're still
basically
on the first slide. I think when
the
we're talking
first slide.
about yes. You had
Okay,
asked
yeah.
the questions that we should write down and then
Wow.
No, we're not there.
we're not there yet. So before this.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to talk about personal finance. So
Yeah.
everything we talk about, from making money to spending money to saving your money to investing your money and protecting your money, is personal finance. From learning how to make money, learning how to keep your money, and learning how to grow your money is personal finance. And personal finance cuts across budgeting, it cuts across savings, it cuts across investing, it cuts across retirement, it cuts across debt management, even protection, because while you've made a lot of money, you don't want to lose your money. And for budgeting, a lot of people say this, that, oh, I would like to budget, but budgeting is difficult. I don't know how to go about it. But it's actually very easy. Like I said, it's very easy. All you just need to do is ask yourself, do a 3-month bank statement analysis of your finances. You could pick the last 3 months because that will show your most recent spending habits, and then just do an analysis. How much do I spend? That would give you how much do I spend on my transport? How much do I spend on my giving? How much do I spend on my lifestyle? How much do I spend on every aspect of my life in a month? That will give you a clear picture of what your budgeting should be like, and then you can now use that as a guideline. But I would like to put this: when you are setting up a budget, don't be too, try as much as possible to be flexible, because of course we understand that why MBS is declaring that inflation is going down, people in the market, people that go to the market, are complaining that price is still going up. So try as much as possible to be flexible with your budget. So I'm going to talk a bit about savings now. So for savings, I always say this, that savings give you control, savings give you confidence. And growing up, we all know savings to be owning a piggy bank and then putting money, saving money maybe daily or monthly in your piggy bank. And I would like to share a personal example. At least I think my first money experience, I think this was when I was in secondary school. My elder brother cousin brother own an iPod. You know those music iPod that all your
Yeah.
music is in the iPod, and then you just plug your ear and you are dancing. So I wanted it, and I told my mom and my parent that I wanted. My parent were like, oh, they can't afford that right now. So I told my mom that my mom owned a provision store, and as at that time she was co-managing my dad's business, so there was no time. So I told her that, oh, mommy, I'll stay in your shop for you, but you pay me money. Mom was like, so how much? Like I said, give me 15 naira every day. So we both agreed that, oh, but every day I stay, every day I stay in at a shop. When I'm closing the shop, I'm going to take 15 naira and I'm going to put it in a piggy bank. Unfortunately, I was able to save the amount for the piggy bank, but unfortunately, I was not able to buy the. But I was not able to buy the iPod because I think it was out of stock or something. But at least that was my first money experience, and that taught me lesson on how to save. So benefits of saving. Savings allows you to cover emergency. It also allows you to avoid unnecessary debt. A good story to talk about avoiding unnecessary debt. Debt was when my younger brother came to visit me from Enugu. So he came around and he was like, the first night he fell sick and we had to take him to Gariki Hospital. For those that are in Abuja, we took him to Gariki Hospital, and in a stand, they told us that we should in a stand, they told us that, oh, we need to run some tests, we need to pay for this, we need to pay for that. Personally, I had an health insurance, but unfortunately, we were just passing by, so we did not have an health insurance. So guess what? I had to pay the 50K and I had to draw that from my savings. Imagine if I did not have 50K, I have to maybe call my parents and say, Mommy, your child is sick, or I'm going to have to maybe get there to use one of those loan apps to pay for it. So when you save, it helps you to avoid unnecessary debt. It also allows you to take advantage of opportunity and also prepares you to take for your short-term goal. So a story that I'd like to share, it happened recently. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter. A lady tweeted that her friend is having the best birthday in the world, and why? Few months before her birthday, she decided to be intentional about her savings to sponsor her birthday. So every month when she gets paid, she puts out a certain percentage in her savings, and then she used that to take care of her birthday. So she was able to travel. She was able to have a very, very interesting birthday because she was very intentional about her savings. And the good news is that you don't necessarily have to save in the traditional bank. I always say this, that you don't necessarily have to save with the traditional bank that might not necessarily give you interest, and then inflation will erode your money. You don't necessarily have to do that. There are a lot of fintech apps like Ladder that afford you the opportunity to save your money. And when you save your money, you are going to get as high as 20% on your money. That is 20% per annum on your money. So why should you save? Saving gives you stability during job loss. It gives you the freedom. Remember, we said we don't want to build our future. It gives you the confidence, the ability to say yes to life goals without stress. It also prepares you. And there are different types of savings, but I'm going to classify the types of savings we have into two. One is your emergency fund, and the other is goal-based savings. That is target goal-based savings. So what are emergency fund? The emergency fund is another name for emergency fund is Vex money. I wouldn't necessarily call it Vex money, but it's an emergency fund. And your emergency fund is a fund you set aside to take advantage in case of any form of emergency. So the truth is that emergency will not tell you, hi, I'm coming around next week. Please try as much as possible to prepare for me. No. Emergency will just happen when you least expect it. It could be your phone just dropping and then you have to fix the screen. It could be your engine. You need to fix something to your engine. There's a possibility that emergency might not even have to do with you. It could be maybe from your loved ones and you need to support. So how do you save for your emergency? I always say that you should try as much as possible to ensure that your emergency fund is adequate and is highly liquid. And a good way to ensure that your emergency fund is adequate, you should ask yourself, remember at the beginning I asked that, what is your average living expense? So you should know what your average living expense is in a month. That is, in a month, how much will it take me to take care of myself every month? So multiply that living expense times 3. That is the minimum you should have in your emergency fund, and the maximum you should have is 6. So we are not praying that you should lose your job, but we understand that emergency happens. And one emergency that could happen could be that, you become redundant at work and your employer is like, sorry, you might have to look for another job. But within that period of time, you don't want a situation whereby you run into debt. So what can you do? Your emergency fund can actually act as a buffer for you. And we always recommend that the minimum you should have in an emergency fund should be 3 months, while the maximum you should have should be 6 months. That is, if your average living expense is 150, the minimum you should have should be 450,000 naira. And if your average, or the money maximum you should have should be 900. The reason why I'm saying 900 as maximum is because we don't want a situation whereby you have too much idle fund lying. We have too much fund lying idle. We want a situation whereby if it is more than 6 months, the excess should be invested, because 6 months should be enough to take care of any form of emergency that might arise. The second is goal-based savings. I always say this, that for your goal-based savings, try as much as possible. Don't just save randomly because, I just attended the webinar and they're like, oh, we should save. Don't just save because everybody's saving. Try as much as possible to have a goal. Try as much as possible to have a target, something you're trying to achieve. It could be your rent. It could be, I want to have a travel fund. It could be that, I want to pay for my vacation. It could be something serious as, I want to maybe get a professional certifications and I need money to do this. You can save for it. It could even be, I want to maybe treat my parents or my loved ones, or my girlfriend has been with me through thick and thin, and I want to surprise her with a lovely jewelry. Be an intentional boyfriend today. So you could save.
What of the boyfriends that are been through thick and thin?
Oh yeah, yes. As a lady, you could decide to don't buy singlets for your boyfriend. Please support them with something. It could be that maybe you support them with invest in their business, give them cash and say, take care of yourself. You could do that.
Correct.
You could do that. So now we've talked a lot about savings. Let's move to the next, which is investing. Savings can help you to keep your money, but you can't necessarily grow your wealth if you don't invest. And the good news is that when you invest, you are beating inflation. When you are saving, you're not necessarily beating inflation outrightly. But when you invest, you're actually beating inflation. When you invest, you are building wealth, because your money will be working for you while you're sleeping. Which means that you're not necessarily actively working to make that money. The money is now working for you. Investing allows you to achieve those big goals. I know someone that was like, I invest in, she's able to get money for a down payment for a property that she has been eyeing. Also, investing can be a source of passive income for you. That is when you're talking about income from your shares, that is dividends or rental income. If you own a property, you can start making passive income from your investing. I'm going to talk more about investing. And remember, you can't save your way to wealth. You can only invest there. So before I say a lot about investing, I would like to just tell us some key differences between savings and investing. The major difference is the goal, the risk associated with it, and the return. When we talk about savings, the only thing that comes to our mind is safety and liquidity. But when we talk about investing, we are looking at long-term. But when we talk about savings, it is low risk. In most cases, I tell people that you can keep your money in the bank. You can be certain that at the end of the day, you can always go and get your money. You get your capital back, right? But investing is the risk associated with investing varies from low to high risk investment. We're going to talk about that too. Then the return, in most cases, with your savings, you get very low return, but it's stable. But investing, you can make huge amounts of returns from investing. A good example of this is Better Glass. Guys, last year December, Better Glass was 50 naira per unit. That is, if you want to buy a unit of share of Better Glass, it was 50 naira. But guess what? Just the last time I checked, I think last week or early this week, Better Glass was worth 400 naira. That means Better Glass it itself. That means if you have invested in Better Glass, your money will have multiplied itself by 8 times. So when you invest, but then we talk a lot about the gains, the return you get from investing. Investing is also volatile. You can also lose your money. So now I'm going to do a deep dive into investing. So, but before I talk about investing, say a lot about investing, I would want to say this, right? Please, before we start investing, I know you might, as a couple, you have goals that, oh, we want to achieve this, we want to invest together. Individually, my spouse is doing this, we are doing this. But please, before you start to invest as a family or individually, try as much as possible you have an emergency fund. The reason why I'm emphasizing this is because as human being, we are quick to make the decision that, oh, I just want to start investing. But before you start investing, when the emotions are high, try as much as possible that you have an emergency fund. Because when it comes to investing, investing should be seen as a long-term game, not a short-term game, something that you just put your money, multiply it, and then you go. And again, another reason is because the volatility associated with investment. So I'll try I'll be practical as possible. Um, During the first quarter of this year, towards the second quarter of the year, the stock market was down. I'll have this. I'm going to maybe I'm going to say, oh, do you know why it was down? But the stock market was down. But imagine if you put your money in the stock market, you don't have any emergency fund, and you have an emergency. What are you going to do? You have to sell at a discount.
Mm.
You have to sell at a discount. So that's why I always emphasize, have an emergency fund first. Ensure your emergency fund is adequate. It is highly liquid. That means you can withdraw from it when you want to. And then you can then invest. So I've put together a list of safe and beginner-friendly ways. So you can invest individual or as a couple. You can invest in mutual fund. I'm going to explain what that is. You can invest in treasury bills. You can invest in commercial paper. You can invest in stocks and ETF. You can even take it a step further by investing in real estate. And the good news is that for all of this investing opportunity, you don't need a huge amount of money. So you don't necessarily have to wait until you have lots of money. It as little as 5,000, 10,000 naira, 50,000 naira, you can actually start to invest. I always say this, that it's good that you invest huge amounts of money, but what actually make you to grow well, to enjoy compounding interest, is when you do it consistently over and you keep it for a long period of time. That is when you're going to enjoy the compound interest. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the low risk investing opportunity that you can invest in. The first you can invest in is treasury bills. Treasury bills can be regarded as a low or even no risk or a risk-free investment opportunity. What does treasury bill means? It simply means when you invest with the government, economists in the house will say, no, that's not the case. The government is trying to mop up money. But for a layman, treasury bill simply means when you decide to give your money to the government, and then the government tells you that, oh, we keep your money for 3 months, we keep it for 6 months, and then we can also keep it for a year, and then we'll give you returns. Yes, you give you your capital and we'll give you your returns at the maturity period. So we have the maturity period. Maturity date is the date whereby your investment mature. If you have invested for 3 months, so at the end of the 3 months, you get your capital and you get your returns. And the good news is that since you're investing with the government, it is a risk-free investment. I always say this, that the government hardly fails. And for those of you saying that we are in Nigeria, to be honest, government hardly fail. Although we saw a situation in the case of Ghana, but all things equal, the government hardly fails. So you can be rest assured that when you invest in treasury bill, you're going to get your money back. Another investing opportunity I would like to talk about is mutual funds. So imagine this. We are in a community, right? Members of the community don't know how to invest, right? And you have your village head. Village head is very smart. He's a financial investor. It's an investment.
Yeah.
The person is smart, the person has the right tools and all. So you guys reach out and say, oh, sir, please, we know you have all this knowledge. We don't even want you to teach us how to invest. Just take our money, help us invest, and then you give it back to us. So your village head will be like, okay, thank you so much for trusting me. We'll collect your resources as little as 10,000, 50,000 there, 100,000 there. We'll pull these resources together and then invest this money. They can choose to invest in, depending on their investing strategy, they can choose to invest in treasury bills, certificates of deposits, commercial paper, even equity. I'm going to talk about equity in the nearest very soon. Invest in depending on their investment strategy, they're going to invest across different assets. And when they invest across different assets, when they get the return, they'll take a little percentage as their management fee, and then they will share the return and also return capital. So you have your capital and you also have your return. So mutual fund can also be regarded as a low risk investing opportunity. Then let's take it a step further. Let's talk about commercial paper. You must have seen the likes of Dangote Cement, Vast Cement talking about, oh, we are issuing out commercial paper. Yes, commercial paper is a good thing. It's something you should invest in. But when you're investing in commercial paper, it's similar to treasury bills, but in this case, you're investing with a private organization.
Yep.
You're investing with a private organization. And what it simply means is that you're giving your money to a private organization for a short period of time. Be for 3 months, it could be for 6 months, or it could be for 9 months. And then after the period of time, after the investing period, they'll give you your capital and they'll also give you your return. But I like to say this, commercial paper is good, but please do your due diligence when it comes to commercial paper, because we have different type of organization with different credit rating. So I believe that we all have those one of those. We have friends that when they reach out to us that, hey, can you lend me some money? When you give it to them and decide that, oh, I'll give it to you at the end of the month, you can be best assured that at the end of the month you're going to get your money. But then we still have some friends that when they ask you for money and you give the money, just take the money, baba. But just yes, the same thing for organizations too. Organization with good credit standing, and there are some organization with
Okay, I think she got cut off again.
the
So,
reason why we advise personal finance is that,
okay.
oh, you should be able to build your wealth, right? You
Dami,
should
sorry, we lost you for a bit. The last thing we heard was you were explaining that there are organizations that have good
Credit rate.
credit ratings.
rating. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So the organization that have good credit rating, and why we have different organizations, the same way we have different organizations with different credit rating, I always advise that you should try as much as possible. Why is the network? Oh,
We can still hear you.
okay. It's a bit glitching there. So I always advise that you should try as much as possible. Please, can you just let me know?
Okay. We can hear you, we
Okay.
can see you.
Okay. You should try as much as possible to ensure that you do your due diligence before investing in this organization, because you don't want a situation where you invest and then they tell you that, oh, we can't afford to pay your money and all of that. And a good way to do your due diligence is to check the credit rating of this organization. And the good news is that most time before they issue out commercial paper, because also SEC is also aware, and the stock market, the money market, you don't want a situation whereby people lose their money. So they will always ensure that their financial information is readily available on the internet. So try as much as possible to do your due diligence. And if you cannot do, I'm pretty sure you know somebody that is financially literate. Just check online what is their credit rating. That would help you to know, whether I should invest in this organization or not. Whether you should invest in this organization or not. So I'm going to talk about stocks and ETF. And to talk about stock and ETF, for parents in the house, say hello. For parents in the house, you don't necessarily have to. A good way you can actually help your children is to actually help them to invest in stocks. And it does not have to be huge amounts of money. It could be as little as 10,000 naira, 5,000 naira there. You just buy this. In Nigeria, we don't you might not necessarily be able to invest for them outrightly since they are not 18, right? But you can actually start consciously investing for them. I mean, at the back of your mind that this investment is for my children, right? So that you give them a leeway, you set them 10 years apart from their peers. And the good news is that when you're investing in stock, just look at the good companies. Look at the good companies, look at this company with good fundamentals. When you look at this company with good fundamentals, and then just invest. And when it comes to the stock market, I always say the stock market can be likened to your normal market that is being influenced by forces of demand and supply. And to understand this better, we all know that in Nigeria, due to our supply chain issue, when it is raining season, tomato is always expensive. You can buy a piece of tomato for a huge amount of money. And that is simply because supply has reduced and demand is still the same. So the price goes up. So the same thing with the stock market. When a company is being listed on the stock market, the company will usually issue a certain number of stock. And if people are not willing to sell their stock and people keep demanding for that same stock, the price will keep going up. So that is a simple analogy. And different factors affect stock prices, from regulatory issues to your management to
Yeah.
competitors, even even natural disaster like COVID or war can actually affect stock prices. But I'm going to talk about the most relatable one. We all know about a CEO that is trending. I'm not going to mention him, but we all know about a CEO that is trending that cheated on his wife, or two people that are married that cheated on their spouses, and now he has to step down. So as the management of a company, your activity, your whatever you do can actually influence the stock price of a company. That is why, in most cases, if you watch all these corporate movies, if the management is going through crisis, they would ask the management to step down so as not to affect the stock prices. Another factor that can affect stock prices is natural disaster. And there are lots of factors, there are a lot of examples I can cite, but I think the most relatable one is COVID. If I should take a random poll on the call and I ask everybody what was the economic performance during 2020, lots of people will say, the market was down, the market was on standstill, but that is not true. There were some sectors that were performing way better than other sectors, and there were some sectors that were performing badly. A good example of sectors that were performing that surged during COVID is the healthcare sector. If you remember, everybody was buying face masks, everybody was buying hand sanitizer, everybody, there were demand for bed, there were demand for even healthcare personnel, right, during COVID. But at the same time, even apart from healthcare sector, even entertainment, a lot of people were binge watching movie at home. They got Netflix password and all of that. Apart from that, even technology, that was when a lot of people realized that, wait, I could actually work from home and attend conference. I could attend conferences from my home. I could actually get my job done from home. So technology also saw a surge. But at the same time, we had some sectors that were down. A good example was the hospitality sector. People were not traveling again. Hotels were shut down. Airbnb were shut down. Just name it. Those sectors were dealt badly by COVID. While all this was going on, we also had, apart from the natural disaster, another factor we could also talk about is your competitor. For those people that are competent with the market, you remember when DeepSeek was introduced, it affected the stock price of Nvidia, and Nvidia went down. So that is to tell you that even your competitor could actually affect your stock prices. So as a family, as an individual, as a couple, you need to ask yourself this question: what are our investing strategy? Are we investing for dividends, or are we investing for growth? What are our investing strategy? Are we investing for dividends, or are we investing for growth? Because that will determine what you should invest in. If you're investing for dividend, then you should invest in dividend-paying stock. And a good example of a dividend-paying stock is Coca-Cola, because they pay you dividends. So you should know your strategy so that you'll not be stuck with buying a stock that does not pay you dividends. And if your strategy is growth, then you should invest in a growth stock. And a good example of a growth stock is Tesla. And I always say this, that even if you don't know anything, ask yourself, a company that is into research, that is every day, they're telling you that, we are into research, we are investing money into research and development. That is to tell you that, they are looking for the next innovation, they're investing in innovation, they're trying to expand their market. Such a company is a growth company. But a company that is established, like Coca-Cola, they are not going to, I always say that they won't refine the taste of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola today will still be Coca-Cola tomorrow. So they're established and they have the cash flow to pay you dividends. So as an individual and as a couple, you should agree what is our strategy. And I And on the call here, I'm going to put it out there that if you are just starting out, even if you're in your 20s, your 30s, as a family, you're just starting out, you don't have trust, you're not a trust fund baby, not a trust fund family, you're just trying to build your wealth, you should invest in growth because you can easily build more wealth through growth than dividends. And since you have a good job, you should not necessarily be chasing dividend. Dividends will come with growth stock, but it might not necessarily be consistently. And now we've spoken about individual stocks, that is, you become a shareholder. Let's talk a bit about ETF. What are ETF? ETF is simply exchange traded funds. It's like a basket of security. It's like you going to the supermarket and picking up an hamper, and that hamper contains the likes of Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia, and the likes. They are all packaged at one and sold to you. So you as an investor, you don't necessarily have to worry yourself. Oh, should I buy Coca-Cola? Should I buy Apple? Should I buy Tesla? Should I buy Better Glass? If you want to invest in Nigerian ETF, you can decide to buy the NGS 30. But if you want to invest in global stock, you can buy the likes of the S&P 500. You can buy IAU. There are different types of ETF that you can actually buy. And just to mention, because of time constraint, for you to start investing, first thing first, ask yourself, do I have an emergency fund? What are my financial responsibility? How much can I set aside for my short-term goals? Because of course you must take care of your short-term goals. And how much can I set aside on a monthly basis for my long-term goal? And how do you start? You can use, unlike during the time of our parents that you have to go and knock the door of a broker. Now with your app, with your phone, you can actually start to invest. You can use platforms like Ladder. Ladder allows you to invest in treasury bills. But if you want to invest in the likes of stocks and ETF, you can use platforms like Afri Invest. That allows you to invest in the local stocks. And if you want to invest in global stock, you can use platforms like Bamboo. The reason why I recommend Bamboo is because this is not a paid advertisement for them. Is because when you're investing with Bamboo, you can, on the same platform, you can invest on local stocks, you can invest in local stock, and you can also invest in global stocks. So everything is in one place, not that you're downloading different apps for different purposes. So at this point, I'm going to take a pause so that we can move to the next one, the question and answers section.
Okay, wow. Thank you very much, Dami, for that detailed presentation. I myself even relearned a lot of things. I like the way you explained ETFs,
Yeah.
understanding the basket of different stocks and having the, because I mean, there are some people that might like to invest in one stock, maybe their own risk tolerance is high. But some other people just want to have a safe type of a piece of every other one. So the way you explained it was very fantastic. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So I hope all of us got some piece of information that we can take back to start, acting on immediately. So this is not the kind of thing that you just hear and then you say, okay, I'll start 5 years from now. Emergency fund, does, like Dami said, it does not call you and say, the COVID did not call anybody to say, how for Africa, we are coming. They didn't call, they just happened. And people that didn't have emergency funds really, suffered from it. The worst thing, I always say a lot of times that the greatest killer of people is not even sickness, it's poverty. Some people can't afford to pay 50,000 on a particular medication or 20,000 for a malaria drug and they die. A lot of people die in underdeveloped areas because there's no money. So we're trying to change that narrative. So we'll just, go over to the question and answer.
Yes. Okay, so there was a question here that I asked about recommending some apps to help in terms of building your investment portfolio. I know that you had mentioned Bamboo and the likes of some others, but are there any other ones that you would like to add to what you've already mentioned?
Okay, so before I recommend the app, I would like to say is that as an individual, you don't necessarily have to rely on your willpower to actually invest or to save. You can actually automate it with the help of fintech. All you just need to do is to set the alert, and every month a certain amount of your money will be invested. You can use the likes of Bamboo, you can use the likes of Trove, and you can use Chaka. The reason why I'm recommending these three for your stock investing is because I can say they are regulated by the stock exchange by the Security and Exchange Commission. So that is why I'm recommending this show. There are other ones, and for the local stock, you can use the likes of Afro Invest, because of course you don't remember this is finance we are talking about. So we want a situation whereby you are only using the recommended platform, the regulated platforms. And for your savings and for your savings, you might want to download Ladder. And the good news about Ladder is that when you download Ladder, you get to save, you also get to invest in treasury bills, and you also get access to all Money Africa courses. So by saving and investing on Ladder, you also get access to all Money Africa courses, and you get to learn the fundamentals, technical analysis on how to know how to pick stocks yourself without having to rely on somebody. And rather than following trends, you know what to look out for when you are picking stock.
Okay, thank you. And the spelling of ladder is LADA.
DDA.
LADD.
LADDA.
DDA.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And somebody just asked now, how about Piggyverse?
Yes, Piggyverse is regulated. Piggyverse is regulated. But I work for Money Africa, so I'm talking about Ladder.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I was like thinking, I think there's Carrywise as well.
Yeah,
but
there's Carrywise
all those
as
ones are
well.
regulated.
Yes, they are regulated.
Okay.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. So our next question will be, how best do you advise to manage money and spending as a couple? And can you advise on any tool? Okay, already mentioned that last. What do you advise couples who are trying to manage their money and spend as well as spending on money? I mean, you've already talked about budgeting, right? Any other thing you'd like to add?
Okay, so I'm going to say this, right? I'm not married, but I have my partner, and we also have our financial goals. And one major thing we discussed when we were during the those beginner stage was how are we going to handle money? And he was like, hey, Danny, you're financially literate, so I think you'll be in charge of our money. And but you have to have that conversation with your partner. But this is what I would recommend, depending on if you know your partner is a spender and you are not a spender, then I wouldn't advise you pool your resources. I wouldn't advise that you put your money in the same account, right? What you can do is you can both open maybe like a joint account, and then both of you will contribute a certain portion of your earnings to that, and then you use that money from the joint account to do maybe household expense or collective projects, right? Especially when you guys' mindset does not align. But if you guys' mindset align, you guys are working in the same direction, then of course you can actually pool your resources together. Both of you can just pool your resources. But if you know that your mindset does not align, so that somebody will not say, I just got a Dior's bag, and you're like, wait, we said we are going to build something and you just got a luxurious bag. So you need to ensure that, okay, if you guys don't have the same mindset, everybody can maintain their own account, and then you have like a joint account where you pool resources together. And the next thing is you ask yourself that what are your budget, what are your life goals? Because you guys need to sit down and have this conversation. I always say that you should have a money date. That is something my partner and I do. So we know we have like a date as a couple. You go out for date night where you talk about yourself. But at the same time, you should also have money dates whereby the main purpose of that date is to talk about your finances. You can talk about, oh, this are our goals maybe for this quarter or for this year, and then both of you will discuss how much can I contribute to achieve this? How should we go about this? Then you just plan. But like I always say, the first thing is conversation. You need to talk to both of you must talk to each other, and you must come to an agreement so that somebody will not feel that I'm the only one contributing to this relationship. You are not contributing. So both of you must come together, talk, and then draw up a plan, create a budget, a realistic budget, and then you work towards it.
Thank you so much. That's actually the money date, what you just said. I think is a very good idea, especially for couples, people people in relationship as well. Okay, the next question says, how can one begin investing and even saving when you don't have a stable income?
Okay, so that's a good question. So, but the first thing, remember, when I started with personal finance, I started with first step is you have to learn how to make money. Then you have to learn how to keep your money. Then you have to learn how to grow your money. So how to make money is getting a stable job first, right? And today, with the help of social media, you don't necessarily have to like go and work for somebody, you can leverage on your experience and get money. And the next thing is, so if you don't have a stable income yet, and your income is still saving you at this point, I would advise you that you can just cultivate the habit of trying to build an emergency. You don't necessarily have to jump right in to investing, right? Try as much as possible to have a stable income, then you can then save. When you can now save, then you can now move to investing. Don't try to, you're not, if you're not earning enough to take care of yourself. And this is me saying that, okay, you are not trying to be it's not that you have an exorbitant lifestyle that you're spending all your income. If you are living below your means, you are managing your expenses properly. You don't necessarily have to start saving or start investing immediately. The good news is that you have the knowledge. Work on your income first. When you're able to work on your income and you've made good money, even when you start making that money, yourself, you know that, okay, I can, when they say you eat and remain something, when you can eat and remain something, that's like a good time for you to actually to saving and then invest.
Mm. Thank you, thank you. And just as a follow-up to what you said, right? This question, which is almost like a comment, says they say you need money to get money. What do you have to say about this?
That's a good one. Yes, you need money to make money. You need money to make money. But I don't really think you need money to make money. I think the truth is that I believe I'm a Christian, and I believe that God always gives us something in our hands. So you might not have money, but you might have an idea, right? You might not have money, but you might have the network. Now I'll give you a typical example. I remember when I was much younger, I've been a bit entrepreneurial growing up. I wanted to. I think that was when this Ankara bag was trending. Everybody was carrying Ankara bag, Ankara shoe. I don't know if you remember. And then it was during my national diploma. We were on strike, so I had this purse that was the leather was peeling. And I was like, oh, everybody's talking about Ankara bag. Guess what? I just picked an Ankara, one of my mom's car, and then I just revamped the bag, and it was very beautiful. If I had put it up for sale, maybe nobody will have buy, but maybe my mom will have supported me and she'll have buy. And from that simpler venture, I realized that I could actually put together things. And then I went ahead to learn how to make shoes. From learning how to make shoes, I even sold some shoes. And then I told myself, no, I don't think for now this is my path. Then I had to just divert. So the truth is that there's always something in your hands. It might not be money, it might be your experience, right? What can you actually trade within you? And God will always keep something within you that you can actually trade for money, right? I remember you can always exchange that for money and then use that to actually grow your wealth.
Very interesting. So basically, you don't necessarily need money. You can have an idea that would help you in starting that investment or savings portfolio that you need, right? So
Yeah.
thank you.
And just to add to that, money is attracted to value. So money is when you exchange value, you get money. So if you are valuable in your skill, you refine your skill, you find some sort of resource or idea. That's when money comes. So you don't necessarily need. In the olden days, you used to do trade by barter. I give you something, you give me something. That has always been the principle of making money. You exchange something for something. So,
Very good, very good. Okay, next question says, what are the key strategies to maintain flow of wealth amidst economic breakdown?
Mm.
So
That question is deep. Okay, so the first thing I would say is ask yourself what is your average living expense. So the truth is that there will always be economic downturn, there will always be boom, but there's something constant, which is your spending habit. Ask yourself what is your spending habit, what's your average living expense. Then when you know that, use that to build an emergency fund. An emergency fund is like the bedrock of all this. Build an emergency fund, and it's like a buffer for you, it's like a protection for you. Have on the medical insurance so that even if you fall sick today, your medical bills will be paid for by your insurance. And among all these, I will always advise that during the period of boom, try as much as possible not to suffer lifestyle inflation. That is when you start making that money, you start spending it. That's when you're traveling, you're doing this, you're buying the latest bag, you're spending. Try as much as possible not to suffer lifestyle inflation. I would like to use the analogy of the 7 years of famine and the 7 years of home. So the fact is that God showed Joseph that picture to help him to understand that, oh, during this period, you guys are supposed to gather and preserve, and you should use that as a guide for your life. So it could be during your 20s, your 30s, you are making a lot of money. At that point, that is not the time for you to be spending, for you to be wasting. That is the time for you to actually start putting structures in place that can provide regular cash flow for you, so that during the period of famine, right, you can have something to rely on. So I always use you can use the analogy for your life. When there's a lot of money, preserve it, right? Don't waste it, so that when there is a downtime, you can use what you've saved to help you through that period.
Interesting. Thank you so much. And that analogy is very, very key. I think many times we forget that life can happen, things could come up, and the money you're enjoying now, it just might not have its come tomorrow. But nobody's praying for a downfall, but like you said,
Just like the principle of the ants. The
ants
ants is always preparing for the
Yeah,
worst. No matter whether there's
you're always
abundance or not,
guarding.
the ant is always guarding, it's always guarding, it's always guarding. So that's the kind of mindset is usual. Because if you've noticed, if you watch the economies from 1960s up to now, the economies always go up and go down. There's always going to be a recession. There's always going to be all price of crash. All price. It's the same as ever. There are some things that never
Yes,
change. So
yes,
no matter how long the rise is happening, there's always going to go to a point where it will plateau. And if you study recessions,
yes.
2008 in America, it's the same thing that always happens. So
yeah,
it's just the
It's
principle
a
thing.
circle, just goes
It's
all
like,
around.
yes.
just keep going. Yes. All right. So someone has a question here. Said, what are the things to look out for in a growth stock? You mentioned Meta Glass. How would we know that this stock will grow or have a track record? What are the things to look out for?
So that is like fundamentals of stock. So this is what I always say. As if you're an investor, you sh- you should not shy away from reading. You try as much as possible that you are reading. You can pick up a company better, you can pick Better Glass, you can just pick up a company. And the good news is that for a company to be listed on the stock exchange market, their financials must also be provided to the public. So you can pick up their financials and look at their revenue, look at the growth, pick their revenue. Oh, how are they making money? And I always say this, that a lot of people are shouting Better Glass now, but one of the reasons why Better Glass is booming is because we are gradually moving away from the use of plastic to the use of glass. We are trying to green the economy. So lots of people are using glass now. So ask yourself, where is the economy trending to? How is their revenue? What are their income head? Are they making more revenue? How efficient how efficient is the company with regards to the use of their assets? Are they very efficient? Like I always say this, that GT Bank is one of the most efficient bank I've seen. When you compare their financials with other banks, they are very, very efficient. So you should look at how efficient is the company. Then when you look at how efficient is the company, the next thing you also want to look at is are they investing in research and development? Because a company that is investing in research and development will definitely be innovative, right? They might not make their break the first year, they might not make the break the second year, but they will definitely be innovative. And also, is the company trending towards expansion? Because if the company is trending towards expansion, it could be expanding their market, it could be their capacity to produce and deliver a particular service or a particular product. That would help you to know, okay, this company is moving towards this. And please, just pick up their financial. It's always available. Just read it. It might be boring, but the truth is that I always say this, that numbers does not lie. There'll always be signals in their numbers, and you can just use that, and that would give you a guide. That's like a starting point. Then you can also look at platforms like Naira Metrics. They're always talking about analysis. They're always giving analysis, so you can listen to them. So that's just like a starter guide for you to know. And a typical analogy is the best example is I always use an Igbo man. An Igbo man might not necessarily, when he starts his business, you might see he might be very frugal, he's not spending money. He's just keeping his money, he's reinvesting his money. It might not necessarily be spending the money, living the luxurious life, but it's making money, but it's reinvesting it. A company that is reinvesting their money is trying to expand the business. And if they're trying to expand the business, they're tending towards growth. And if they're tending towards growth, you as an investor will enjoy capital gain. And just to mention, capital gain simply means when the value of the asset you bought is higher than the price at which you bought the asset. So just with that analogy, you would notice that, oh, this company will definitely grow. So use the Bowman analogy, please.
Thank you. I just want to add to that, even simplify things. In fact, in this generation with AI, you can get as much information about companies in 5 minutes. You can go into either ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. Okay, say I want to understand Tesla's stock. As a layman, explain to me the parameters that contribute towards their growth. It will bring out everything for you. You can even download a report from Tesla, put it in ChatGPT, say analyze this and give me the metrics that will make me, as an investor, what are the things I need to look out in this company? So that it can be very easy for you now if you're just willing to put in that information. AI has made everything simpler.
Easy.
Yeah.
As you were speaking, you mentioned something, how efficient is the company, right? Do you mind purchasing on that? What do you mean?
Okay, so efficiency. Efficiency is just saying, okay, how can they manage their resources? How are they using their resources? So let me give you an example. I can have 2 rooms, right? And I might just be using one. I might just be using one and might just leave the other room. I do. Nobody's staying in the room. But if I want to be efficient with my resources, I can decide to stay in one room and use the other room for Airbnb so that people can come in, use, and then I make money from it. So you see organizations, they might have large assets, and that asset is not returning value to them. So the ability of the organization to maximize the return that its assets can give them is more like the efficiency ratio of an organization. So you have to be certain that this organization, they are effectively using their assets to actually generate revenue for you, because revenue is like the bottom line item, and you as an investor, you are looking at profits. So, but everything comes from revenue.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. Okay, this next question is a bit on a personal level, but person says, how can I stop the addiction of spending unnecessarily?
Okay, so I will be honest with you. This is what I do. Not necessarily. I think my sibling called me frugal. I don't think I'm frugal. I just think I plan my spending. But this is what I do. When I get paid, I know how much is our living expense, so I push the money immediately to our living expense account. I know how much I invest in a month, and I push that money to my investment account, right? And then I know 10% my tithe, I push that to God, right? Then whatever is left, I know what will be left, right? Will be my flex money. So if I decide to burn that money within one day, it's my business. And if I decide to use it across the month, so the fact is just that if you know that, you are not spending the way you want to, automate it, automate your savings, automate your investment. Stop relying on self-will, just automate it. You know, when your salary comes in, the moment your salary comes in, this amount should be taken to your investing account, this amount should be taken to you. And let me give you a funny example. It's funny how I have an example for everything in life. So let me give you a funny example. I remember there was this year, I told myself I was going to do dirty December. I was going to spend money, I was going to enjoy myself. So forgetting I've automated my finances. So it was during the holiday period, salary came in, I was happy. I was like, I'm going to I'm just going to take care of myself. I was sleeping, and then I woke up in the afternoon and then I saw an alert. What took this money from my account? What did I use this money for? I was wondering. It was when I checked the narrative, I realized that, it was an automation I set. So even when I as an advisor, I don't even want to save my money. The fact that I've automated it, the money will. So you don't necessarily have to rely on yourself. Just automate your savings, automate your investments, and you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. Automate your expenses, automate your savings. Thank you. Next question says, what is the borderline between treating yourself and being extravagant? So you said that your siblings think you are frugal, but you are not, right? So how do you actually know what the borderline is? Like you were saying that you wanted to do 30 December, right? So how can you know, okay, this is you being extravagant now, and this is you actually just indulging and treating yourself?
Okay, so it's in line, but we should be smart about it and we can actually plan it. Of course, I am a fan of please live your life now, but I also believe that you should plan for your future. So because I understand that you should live your life now, I set aside a portion of my money. I call it my flex money. I set
Mm.
aside a portion of it to flex myself. It could be, oh, maybe treating myself to a spa section. It could just be, oh, going to watch. I love reading. So it could be, oh, going to Loving Heights to go and pick up some books. It could be that, right? And there's some months that I might not even feel like doing anything, and the money will just be lying idle. And also, also understand that I want to enjoy some luxuries in life that maybe I might not necessarily be able to afford. So rather than splurging, maybe taking my entire money and pushing it to it, I just ask myself, when do I want to achieve this? Right? When do I want to achieve this? And then I plan towards it. So every month I can set aside a portion. Those are like short-term goal. I can set aside a portion of my money to achieve this. Just like, okay, for instance, I'm a fan of wigs. And ladies in the house, you know that wigs are not cheap, especially if you're
Mm.
going for the good ones. So because of that, rather than just buying wigs, or just buying any kind of wigs, I love to invest in good wigs. So what I do is every month I set aside a portion of my money, even when I have no intention to buy the wig, or I don't have the wig that I've not, maybe I don't have the particular wig in mind that I want to buy. I just set aside the portion, and I know this is for my wig money. So when I see that wig that I want to buy, rather than splurging at that moment, I can just take money from my wig allowance and then
Mm.
just buy for it. So just have like you know yourself best, right? If you want to enjoy those luxuries, set aside, please enjoy your life. But set aside, plan for it, set aside a portion of your money towards that particular luxury you want to enjoy, and you are good to go.
Hmm. So when you keep saying set aside, right? It kind of in my head, I'm thinking, okay, so how many accounts can you possibly have set aside money for different things? So is there a system, a way to kind of know, okay, this money is big money, this one emergency money, this one investment money. Like how can you?
Okay, so this is actually very easy. So now we just look at it like a chart. We have my salary here. After taking my salary, I take aside money for expenses. I have like an household account where I set money for expenses for the house, to manage the house, buy groceries for the house. And then I also have an emergency fund account. Currently, I don't save it because my emergency fund is adequate, so I don't put money there. And my emergency fund is on Ladder because we have like an emergency fund app. So, and it gives me interest. So rather than putting it in a traditional bank, it gives me interest. So I just have like a section. I know this is my emergency. Whenever I need money, I can always withdraw from it on Ladder. Then I also have like a goal-based account, right? So a goal-based account is just like a random savings account where I just push money on a random. And if you are using Calvin Wise, you would know that, oh, they will tell you, oh, you should type the name, you should set the name of the account. So that is like a base account. But for your investment, you're not necessarily keeping this money in your account. It's going straight to your investment. You are practically investing. So practically the key account you need is an emergency fund. And the good news is that if you use if you use a platform, you can just have like maybe Ladder app. Ladder app can be your emergency for your emergency. If you want, you can have or if you are using Carry-Wise, you can have your emergency on your Carry-Wise. You can also have like your target savings on Carry-Wise too. So everything is just on Carry-Wise, and your investment is on Bamboo. So it's not necessarily like, oh, you have multiple accounts like savings accounts and all of that. It's just like you just know that, oh, they are compartmentalized, right?
Yeah.
So that you don't end up using your emergency fund for your goal base.
Mm. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So basically, using this app, you can always have like subdivisions in the app that says, okay, this is for this is for this is for that. Thank you. Okay, next question says, how do you start generational wealth creation process? Is it before or after marriage? If before, how do you then involve your spouse?
Okay. So I'm going to say this right. From my personal experience, I met my spouse. Okay, we're about to get married. Sha. I met my spouse or I call him partner. I met my partner. I met I I met my partner after I have decided to go on the financial literacy journey. I was already earning well. I was already saving. I already had the intention that, oh, this is the property, this is the asset I want to get. I was already planning towards that already. So when I met him, when we were discussing after the whole initial introduction and all of that, one of the criteria that actually attracted me to him was I asked him about his financial life, because the truth is that you don't want somebody that will drag you down. You want somebody that is there at the same level with you, or somebody that is above you. So I asked him about, and he was like, "Oh, he told me about." And I was like, "Okay, this aligns with me." And the good news is that it's okay if your partner does not have a good financial mindset, as long as the person is a learner, the person is willing to learn, right? Then after that, we decided that, oh, this is where we are heading to. These are the assets we would like to achieve, and we are both working towards it. So the truth is that you need to know, if you are currently single and you don't have a partner, you don't necessarily have to wait until you get married before you start building generational wealth, right? You can start building your wealth on your own, and when you meet your partner will join you, and you guys can continue on the same journey. But if you are married already, you can both of you can then pull your resources together and then build something. You know, when they say two can chase a thousand, so please, you don't necessarily have to do it alone.
Mm.
No, just to add to what you said, it's also important to know that one of the most important financial decisions is choosing the right partner.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one thing to say, if you are single, it's actually easier. But once you're already married, it becomes more difficult. Now to now add prayer to it. But if you are single and you know that you are key about one of the major goals you have is to build generational wealth or to do all in this life, the person you pick also have to be part of that decision. Because your vision for yourself determines the friend you have, the spouse you choose, the places you work, the places you go. So you can't say I want to be generationally wealthy. And then you now marry somebody that likes to spend or just likes to finish money they don't even care about. You now want to say, no, we can't spend here, we can't spend here. No, why do you do that to yourself? And then if you are dating, you're not married, they always say it's better to have a broken courtship than a broken marriage. So if you've not said I do, and you know that this person will not allow me to achieve these goals, you can still move. But if you are married, at the mercy of God. Well, so just to add to that,
Okay.
Did you want to say something?
The truth is that you said it all. I think the only thing I can say is that the only thing I can say is that in all of this, prayer actually matters. So I always say this, that we as an individual, we can plan, you can save, and all of that. So generational wealth could be one connection away. So you can also ensure that in all your doings, in all your strategy, you also involve prayer, so that the Lord will order your step to meet the right
yep.
partner. The Lord will order your step to meet the next lift that you need. The Lord will, even ideas. I always say that, see, you're one idea away from generational wealth. There's something you can do that can just result in generational wealth for you. So please,
Yeah.
while we are planning, we are strategizing, don't leave prayer aside. Also, always involve prayer.
Yeah, very, very, very important.
Right.
Because I know there are some investments that I have made that it was God that directed me to make those investments. So specifically, some people can be saying invest in this stock because it's popular. And if you have a good relationship with God, God can say invest in this one.
Yeah.
And that can be the one that will gain. So there's also the advantage as believers is there's a prophetic angle to it. Some people have gone to buy land in a particular location that didn't look anyhow. And 15 years from then, the thing was worth billions. So like Dami said, with strategies, it's very, very important. However, it's always good to run everything by God, it's like the spirit. So
Okay. All right. There's a live comment and question that says, please, can you try to touch on real estate investment? I saw it on the slide and I was looking forward to your explanation on it.
Okay, so to talk about real estate investments, there are different angles to it. And I always say this that, okay, but before I even go about the different angles, there's something I've been seeing, and I'm like, I hope people are not falling for this, which is the business model that some real estate organizations are doing. Like
Hmm.
they say, oh, you get 40% return.
Obviously.
Like I always say this that okay, please, 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 try as much as possible. If the return looks too good to be true, please, it's actually too good.
So basically,
Please don't do that. And again, ask, the model is not sustainable because the truth is that we all know land. In Nigeria, we are suffering liquidity issue. Even the stock exchange market is suffering liquidity
yeah.
issue. Talk less of land, right? It's not that easy. You can put up a land for sale and you can be praying for. At least I'm pretty sure that I don't know, but I know I've heard testimony whereby people will say, "Oh, put a property up for sales for like 3 years and nobody."
Yeah, so nobody.
The stock estate market, the real estate market is not as liquid as a lot of people or real estate companies make it to look like. So please, when you are investing, please be careful. Most of the business model are not sustainable. And when it comes to real estate investment, always ask yourself, I think the most important question is what type of investor are you? What are you hoping to achieve? Do I want rental income or do I want capital gain? So if you want rental income, then you should know that, oh, I'm investing in this real estate, I'm developing it, and I'm going to set it up and get rental income. So let me give you a good example. I think 2 years ago, is it 2 years ago, 1 year ago, Ekpe, the moment the Dangote refinery went to Ekpe, I told a lot of people that, see, if you have money, just get a property there, right? Because this is a major industry in that location. And before you know it, development will definitely hit that location. So try as much as possible to get a property. And I always say, just look at the trend. Where are people in where who have invested in this location? If you know who have invested in this location, just follow it and invest in it. And the good news about land is that land appreciates. But at the same time, how long will it take to appreciate? You have to sell that question. So,
Yeah.
and when you're investing in landed property, if you actually when you're not developing it, it should be a money, it should not be a money that oh, I'm investing and I'm hoping to get capital gain in the nearest future or in 1 2 years. It should be something for the long term that oh, I'm just investing to preserve my wealth and hold on for the long term. So you can just invest in the land and then you keep it. But if you are developing it, that means you are tending towards rental income. And if you are tending towards rental income, you should ask yourself, that would actually determine where you will buy the land and the type of property you are going to set up on the land. And of course, I don't want to overemphasize is that when you're buying, please don't buy the one that they will just give you receipt that you'll not get all your relevant documentation. Try as much try as much as possible that you ensure that oh these people are they are duly registered. If you are investing with a real estate company, ensure that they have the relevant certifications and documents to actually sell that property to you. If you are in Abuja, you know that the government have recorded a lot of property recent, right? So you should ensure that whichever company you're investing in, they actually have the right title to invest in to actually sell that property to you. And then I always say this that see when you're investing itself is long time. Don't try to play the short-term game. That is where most people that play the short-term game get their hands burnt. Don't try to play the short-term game when it comes to investing. Same with real estate. If you're investing for the long term and you're investing in real estate, just buy the land. Ensure that it has the right title, and then you keep your document. And in the nearest future, it will definitely appreciate. This woman, what's her name? I can't remember her name. The owners of Rough and Tumbles. She said something. She was like, oh, she bought some property. She bought like 2 million per plot property, and then she kept it. After a while, she was able to sell that property for more than twice the amount at which she bought it. The question now is, ask yourself, this money I have, if I invest in real estate, can I just can I do away with it for at the moment? Can I keep it for 5 years down the lane and get my capital back? And then if you don't want to go through this, you can also invest in ETF, actually, right? REIT. If you don't want to go through the buying physical property, you can invest in stocks that are backed by that are real estate related. Yeah, also invest in real estate, right? So you can buy it and then you get your capital gain and you also get your dividend. So depending on the way you want to go, you can go through the physical right, buying properties, or you can choose to invest in stocks and ETFs that are backed by real estate.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very, very comprehensive. Thank you. All right. So this is our last question before we call it a day. It says,
Sorry. Just so that I just wanted to say disclaimer to a lot of people before we ask that last question. Even apart from real estate, don't you agree that a lot of people they invest in industries they don't understand? Like for example, now I'll give an example of myself. My own risk appetite is low to medium. I'm not a risk comfortable person. My wife has higher risk appetite than me. So sometimes I want to invest and she will invest her money. I'll invest my money. We have joint, but when she wants to take her, I say, don't use my money, use your own money. For example, the crypto industry now, he has made a lot of millionaires and billionaires. I personally don't understand it to the level where I'm able to buy Bitcoin USD. Not that it's not a good investment. People are making money off it. Some people will say it's not backed by anything, but some people are making money. Even the real estate industry. If you want to invest somewhere, you need to understand the principles of that industry. So if somebody is even telling you 40% in real estate, it's because people don't understand the real estate industry that you would think that land is value in Nigeria can give you 40%. Policies can change. There's so many risks involved in the Nigerian market that any investment giving you 40%, it should be. In fact, some people usually say that you should use the S&P as a benchmark. But when you
Yes.
see, for example, if the S&P is giving you 20%, any investment that is giving you higher than the S&P, you have to be very, very careful about. It's high risk. Not that it's not possible. So it's just my own child that whatever it is, there are so many investments out there. Try and understand the principles of the thing before you enter. Don't just, I want to rush. The crypto craze is coming. I want to rush into it. Stock craze is coming. Somebody will even say, oh, if you have invested in NVIDIA, if you don't even understand what the NVIDIA company does, if I ask people to even explain okay, semiconductor, what does NVIDIA do? Most people don't know. Even the AI model, that people are investing in AI companies. Do we understand what AI is and why it's a good stock or a bad stock? So a lot of people just need to read more before you take, decisions. So I just thought it was
Yeah, I
something to
totally
add.
agree with you. Like the truth is that as an investor, you can't be a good investor and not be a reader. See, you must read.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of people say, I'll give somebody my money. It's okay, you can give somebody your money, but you yourself have to read. You
you have
understand?
to. Mhm.
Don't I always say this that and a good way if you're a reader, just recommend books you can read on investing. You can my favorite book is The Richest Man in Babylon. And if you've read that book, one of the principles is that don't invest in what you don't know. Don't
Yes.
put money in what you don't know. So
Mhm.
just like you said, if you want to invest in real estate, do you know the business model behind real estate? If you're investing in Nvidia, do you know the whole idea behind Nvidia? What exactly are they doing? How are they making their money? You should ask yourself that question. That will guide your decision. And just to chip in on the crypto, I always say this that crypto is not backed by any assets, right? But that does not mean that people are not making money off crypto. And I would like to say this, please, please, and please don't invest in those coins that they'll say invest today, it will pump tomorrow. Please don't. Even the whole Donald Trump coin that came in during the first quarter,
Yes.
you can see how it's not doing well. You
Yep.
understand? That is the whole Donald Trump coin that came in. So, and if you want to invest in crypto, if you know you have a risk taker, you want to invest in crypto, just stick to the stable coins, the likes of Bitcoin, the likes of Solana, the likes of
Yes.
Ethereum. Just stick to those coins and you are good to go. But don't go and do, the one they'll say,
Lulu
let
coin. Lulu coin.
so don't do that, please, because the question now is, I said is that if I have Bitcoin today and I put it on my status, well, I have Bitcoin to sell. A lot of people will enter my DM, even if they are not interested in buying, because they would want to buy. But if I say I have this coin, it will just be crickets all the way because nobody knows. So please, don't take on. It's good to take risks, but don't take the uncalculated ones.
yeah, thank you. And still on this topic, right? You had just recommended The Richest Man in Babylon. What other books would you recommend, aside even books like learning platforms? I know, yes, YouTube is a universal learning platform, but if someone says now, okay, I want to start learning financial management, what are the platforms, the books, or the resources that you would recommend for them?
Okay, I'll that like The Richest Man in Babylon is like my number one. It's easy, it's like a storybook you're reading and it's fun to read. Then the second would be Psychology of Money. And the reason why I recommend Psychology of Money is because a lot of money decision we make is from a place of mindset. So you need to actually understand the mindset that is influencing your decision making. When you understand the mindset, you'll be able to work on it and you'll be able to do better with your money. Then the next is, I think and Grow Rich. I love that book too. You can also read it. With regards to other learning platform apart from books, you might want to follow this guy, Navel, Navel. You might want to also follow him. He's a good teacher on YouTube. You might want to follow talks a lot about money, and I'll not dispute. Also, on Money Africa, you can learn about money too. You can learn about money, and let me see. Okay, also try Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance talks about money. They break down stock. They'll tell you about everything about stocks. You can also try Yahoo Finance, but I think the most important, the foundation is just books, right? Or if you don't want to read the physical copy or the PDF, you can listen to audio books, right? You can listen to audio books, you can listen to podcasts. Also, you can listen to this guy. He talks a bit about money, not necessarily outright money. The Diary of a CEO. He talks not outrightly about money, but it's also a podcast for you to
Yeah.
listen to.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll shortly post all these things that Dami has recommended just so that we can all follow through. All right. Last question. Last question. It says, how is it possible to create generational wealth when my income feeds my mother, my brother, and myself? So black tax, right? And I'm planning a wedding in December. How do I go about this?
That's tough.
Okay, so it's really tough, and the truth is that we are Africans, and I'm not going to dispute the case of black tax. This question, I had a conversation with my younger sister yesterday, and I was like, see, the truth is that if you really want to grow financial wealth, you should actually set boundaries in place. You should set boundaries in place. Kind of help your parents to set realistic expectations for your parents, let them know, and your siblings. And there was something someone said that if you don't if you keep supporting everybody, it's more or less like you're all in it's like the crab analogy. If you see crab, if they put maybe 10 pieces of crabs in a basket, none will climb out. But if you put a single crab in a basket, the crab will definitely get out of that basket. So that is to tell you that if you don't set boundaries and your family member is doing this, take this, your siblings is doing this, you are doing this, you won't necessarily grow that growth. You won't be able to gather enough to actually grow that growth. So I would always advise that have money conversation with your family. Let them know that I love you, I really love you, but this is the maximum I can give. Ask yourself, do a budget for yourself. With all this, with all my plans, this is the maximum I can afford to give at this point. And the truth is that if your family is loving, they would understand. But it is when you don't have the conversation with them that they might start feeling like, oh, maybe you don't care about them. And after having the conversation, you can also have what is known as a generosity fund. Your generosity fund can just be like, oh, this is the maximum you would give out of your salary in terms of families and friends. And the good news is that you give that funds and you exhaust it, as long as it is not life-threatening, right? As long as it's not life-threatening, please learn to say no. Learn to say no, have a budget. The moment you exceed that, the moment you get to that budget, tell yourself that no, 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 please, you have to come back next month. And if you can't afford to give, please just be ready to say no. It might be difficult, right? But please learn to say no, because until you are financially standing, you can't necessarily pick up somebody. And if you are trying to start, you are trying to pick up somebody, you keep falling. Right. So explain that, have that conversation with your family member. I don't know, at the beginning of the year, when we are still together, at the beginning of the year, if you go back home, my family will have like we'll have like a conversation. Everybody will say, oh, these are my goals, these are my this. So maybe you should have that meeting with your family. Tell them that, you can take them for lunch and explain your situation and say, I love you, but see, this is how much I'm earning. This is what I can afford to give you. And if I keep giving you more than this, I won't be able to build the wealth. I won't be wealthy enough to become for this. It won't be enough for it to become a generational wealth. And just to chip in, please, rather than giving handouts, you can actually empower them. Rather than giving money today, you give money tomorrow. If it's somebody that you can empower, maybe like setting up a store that can keep giving them cash flow, you can do that rather than them coming back to you. But if it's somebody that you know you cannot empower, just set a limit for your giving. Every month you give them this and you are good to go. And don't feel bad that, oh, you cannot support them. You support them to the best of your ability. And when you have more and you can give more, then you can then do more.
Very, very prophetic because everything you just said now, the time when we lost you due to network, these three things you said is the exact same three things I was telling to the crab mentality, talking about having a cap on your giving. So I believe that this is specifically for somebody on this call. Maybe God is trying to tell you that you need to get your affairs in order because you can't rise if everybody is pulling you down. So let him who has ears.
Yeah, the
Let's
amount of
hear.
witnesses.
Amount of two witnesses is what is established. So, all right, just said to add that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Danny. This was very, 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 very enlightening. Please,
Thank you.
guys, let's give our thumb ups and claps for Dami for this very, very fantastic session.
Thank you.
Before Dami hops off the call, Dami, you just want to, if anybody wants to join Money Africa or contact you or whatever, how do they do that? I know Money
Oh,
Africa is on Instagram and the platform is there, but any other information that people should know if they want to.
okay. Okay, so of course you can connect with me on all my socials. I'm not really that active, but I'll try to be more active on my social media. So please, you can do that to connect with me. I think I'm more active on LinkedIn than IG and every other social media. So you can connect with me. And of course, please do have to follow Money Africa or Money Africa. We talk about every day we are churning out educative content. And like I said, if you sign up on Ladder, you get access to all our courses rather than paying for the courses. By just signing up on Ladder, you get access to all the courses. So please take advantage of this. This is free resources at your doorstep. And if you feel that you need to learn more, you need to have like a one-on-one conversation with an advisor, then you can just book a section on Ladder and you can have the one-on-one conversation. But the truth is that if you need more, but with what we said on this call, is enough to actually kickstart your financial journey.
Mm.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dami. God bless you.
Amen.
Definitely will have you back for a more detailed session so that we can all grow together. So thank you very much. Guys, let's say a big thank you to Dami as she pops off the call. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Dami.
Thank you for your time.
God bless you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for obliging. Have a good
Thank,
evening and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
thank you. You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Wow.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. All right, guys. That was very, very fantastic. I'm sure a lot of you have learned one or two things about ETF stocks. So what we would see, obviously, we're going to put the recording online. Go back and watch it. The things that you heard, ETF, stocks, go and learn. Like I said on the call, it was because of Money Africa I started reading books on finance. I said going on Carrywise, on Ladder, and all those kind of things to put money to invest. I was like harassing my wife. I said, you say a few more, you understand? So the very good platform. We're not gatekeepers. I'm not here to come and say, oh, they must pay us money to advertise. If we do something that is good and we can help everybody, the goal is that everybody can go together.
Yeah.
So please take your fun. And to that person, I'm saying it specifically by the spirit. So that person that God is trying to talk to you about black tax, please listen up. Liberate yourself so that you are not pulled down. Because some people think that they don't want to leave their family. How can you leave your family if you are not even
All these
lifted?
texts.
You cannot pour out of if you are depleted, you can't pour. You have to be full before you can overflow into somewhere. So a lot of people before they are even full, they're already taken from them. So please, wherever the instruction is for, listen up. All right, guys. So thank you very much for joining. As usual, we will meet again the last Saturday in August. Yes, for another interesting time in on our free webinar. So I hope you guys are having fun. for the past 7 months. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your time. God bless you. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you next time. I'm Nino.
I'm Oluchi.
You are Lulu. And this is Thriving and Love and Relationships.
Bye,
All right,
guys.
guys. Bye.